Henderson. For those of you who don't know her, she is a best-selling author. She is our resident ghostwriter. She calls herself is it the author's midwife or a writer's midwife? I call her the book whisperer. That's my term for her. And I have to say, Anita and I also, magical meeting. Anita, you tell the story of how we met.
We met. Hey, everybody. I'm Anita Henderson. Yes, I'm known as the author's midwife, but at Elite Online Publishing, I'm known as the book whisperer. I will take that any day.
Yeah.
Melanie and I met at a conference in Dallas, Texas. We were attending, didn't know each other. I'm running late getting into the main session for this conference and saw a friend of mine waving in the distance. Oh, Anita, come sit at my table. So I sit and she goes, this lady was looking for a seat and I had her sit next to me. She happens to be in book publishing too. So what are the chances? This room was like 1,000. There was over 1,000 women at this conference. And for us to even meet together was amazing. It turns out that Melanie and I ended up sitting together and we were chatting. Earlier that day, I was sitting in the general space, just kind of, having a moment to myself in this big conference. And in the distance, I noticed this lady's shoes. I didn't really pay attention to the lady. I just noticed her shoes because they were the exact same shoes I had, different color. Well, fast forward back to the banquet room. I'm sitting there chatting with Melanie. We're laughing. Oh, yeah, we should get together and talk later. I look down at her shoes. She's the lady with the shoes. She had the same shoes I had on. So we just giggled. We took a picture of the shoes and each other. What were the chances that at a conference with over 1,000 women, that two of us, probably the only two who are in the publishing industry, ended up sitting next to each other, meeting each other? That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
2019. And we've been doing good business, some great, good, wonderful book projects ever since. So that's how we met.
And so my lesson for you, everybody, if you're here, you're not here by accident. You found us, however you found us, through social media, through email. You're here because you needed to be here. And there's a message today. And, one of the magical things that came about that Anita and our team and Jen, who's here, my co-owner that we met, and we created VIP Book Creation Day because so many authors have books in their head and they're rattling around with, I don't know if I should write about myself. I've got this amazing story. I don't know if I should write about my business. I have this great expertise. And eventually nothing gets written. Or you kind of put some ideas down. You've got notes here and there. I can't tell you, when I used to start, I would have we use Google Docs. There'd be like 10 Google Docs of really the same book or ideas for different books that needed to be one book. So we're here today to take that noise out of your head and to help you figure out how to get started, how to structure your book, and how to come up with the right idea for you of what you should be writing about, and actually get some things. The result today is to give you clear direction and for you to take what you learned today and start writing and have the structure of your book. Because it's so easy once you follow this formula that Anita's created and we've created with her during our VIP Book Creation Day, that you'll be amazed at how easy it is. I was telling Anita yesterday, I said, it's almost like you now have all the pieces to the puzzle and you're just putting the pieces in place. But it's not like 1,000-word puzzle, right? It's like a little kid's puzzle that it's really these big building blocks that you can put into place and know where they are. It's like, oh, this is for a story goes here. I'm going to pull from that part. Oh, this is data that needs to go here. So it's going to be a magical day for you. We're so glad that you joined us. I'm going to say top off, if you turn out to be someone that would want to work with us, we work with high-end people. We have high-end products that we do. We're not on the cheap end by any means, but Karen will put in the chat right now. So you have this at the beginning, how you can connect with us if you want to reach out and have an appointment, an exploratory appointment, or you can just fill out our author submission form. So she'll put those links in chat, and then we'll show some of our products later, but we're not here to sell you anything today. We're really here to educate you and give you value. So Anita, I'm going to have you kick us off, because I know the main thing that we talk about is, if you don't have a compelling reason why to write your book, then it's really hard to move forward. It's if you always notice, like, I'm going to tell this little story. We're doing a family vacation and we invite my kids' friends come, and we have some additional friends that are coming. It's gotten bigger this year, and we're going to Florida. And now suddenly everybody is motivated to work out. We're going in May. And all I hear from everybody is like, oh, I'm going to the gym. I go, you haven't gone to the gym all year. Oh, yeah, but we're going on vacation. We're going to the beach. So that why is propelling them now to go to the gym. So unless you have that why, you're going to the beach, you want to look good in your bikini, it's hard to get motivated to go to the gym, right? So that's what we're really going to talk about first is what is your compelling why and how to come up with it.
Absolutely. So great example, Melanie, and the same is true for writing a book. And what we're really talking about today is for those people who are writing nonfiction, business-focused books, right? Memoir, subject matter, exploration, how-to, instructional, those kinds of books that typically are used to advance your existing brand, your existing platform. So we're talking to people who already have something going on, and that is you, otherwise you wouldn't be here, and want to use book publishing to emphasize that, to elevate that, right? So as with anything in business, we always are thinking about what's our return on our investment, yes? And that typically leads to your why you're writing this book. So in this VIP book creation day that Melanie mentioned, we go through everything we're talking about today, just much more in depth. And one of the key things we cover is your why, your purpose for writing this book, because we talk to people who have multiple book ideas, but we want to make sure you're writing one book at a time. And when people come to me and say, oh, Anita, I've got 5 book ideas, I don't know which one to write first. Oftentimes my question to them is, which one is the money book? Write the money book first, right? Write the book that's going to generate the greatest return on your investment, that's going to equal the greatest dollars for you. Because remember, you're writing this book to enhance your visibility and build your business and that kind of thing. And we always explain to authors that it's bigger than the book when it comes to earning a return on your investment. It's not just book sales you're looking at. You're looking at getting more clients. Maybe that's part of your why. You're looking at perhaps getting paid speaking opportunities. Maybe that is your why. Media visibility, credibility. You want to build your authority. So there are multiple whys. Your why is for you, but we delve really deeply into it in Book Creation Day and help you get very, very clear on your why. We have worked with so many authors who have different reasons for writing their book, and they don't even realize how it can be tied to their business growth. We have one author we're working with right now who really was kind of reluctant to write a book. But her why was that she wanted to get on bigger stages and get paid more. And the motivator behind that was the Speakers Bureau that she's registered with. They told her, we love you, you're great, you give fantastic presentations. But guess what? We could get you booked more and get you paid more if you had a book. Am I right, Melanie?
Absolutely. So I think it's if you want to get on bigger stages, if you want to transition to maybe you're getting in a place in your career where you're transitioning to another space. I may only stay in here for 2 more years. Who do you want to be? Who do you want your personal brand to be? And I'm going to get into Anita says, oh, well, that's kind of the icing on the cake. But things you don't even realize when you get a book is most of you are paying for SEO for your website. Well, guess what? Now Amazon for the rest of your life, I don't think Amazon's going away anytime soon, gives you free SEO. So you get this free marketing from Amazon. You're going to show up on the first page of search, not just for your book, but your Amazon author page, which is another conversation because a lot of people don't realize to do the Amazon author page. But it also keeps you relevant. We were talking yesterday. I've noticed on these talk shows lately, you're getting little clips of them. All these people are promoting books, not necessarily a movie or a show. Kevin Hart just came out with a new book. Sarah Blakely came out with a new book, Worthy, and she transitioned from having It Cosmetics to now something, this big other personal brand. So I think it's to stay relevant, to really get yourself in front of media and to have those other whys are like the icing on the cake that it's going to do for you. But coming up with those personal reasons, which might even be, which I wrote a book about, Life Legacy Challenge, is to leaving that legacy. So you never know who's going to get your book that you're going to change your life. So number one, we say, yeah, the money book, right? How is that going to increase your business, explode your brand, let people know that you are the expert and authority about what you are talking about, but also whose life are you going to help? And then think about a person's life that maybe was influenced and then they influence other people. How many times have you said, you know, I read this book and it was so important and I got this, this, and this about it. And all of a sudden those seeds got spread out to all these other ways of what's going on. And you just never know how that's going to spread from a legacy piece as well.
Mhm.
Then from a personal brand piece of ask yourself, it's definitely an investment. It's an investment of time. It's an investment of money to create a book. And again, we get that ROI question, and it's kind of that why. Okay, I'm going to put the time in, I'm going to put the money in. And everybody's always looking at, well, how many books am I going to sell? You're probably not going to sell very many books. I want you to ask yourself, how many books are you going to give away? And how many clients do you think you'll get because of that? And
That's a good point, Melanie, because I want to say that once you make the investment in producing your book, right, and working with an experienced publishing support team like us, that is considered a marketing expense for your
right?
business. That is a marketing expense for your business. And then you want to look at anything that comes after that as the return on your investment. And that, yes, includes book sales, but that is not the single most important way you're going to earn a return on your investment when it comes to dollars, right?
Just switch
You
your
are
mind.
looking at, yes, you're looking at how many clients can I get with this
Mm-hmm.
book? What would you rather have, a $25 book sale, a $250 an hour client? Not bad. A $2,500, I don't know, speaking engagement, that's pretty cool too. Or, but how would you like, because you wrote a book, to get a $25,000 contract?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be better? Sure, we want all of it. We want the $25 book sale. We want the $250 an hour client. We want the $2,500 honorarium. But how much better would it be if we got the $25,000 contract, or even better, $250,000 contract? That would be great. When you put your name as author of a book, you are
Mm-hmm.
establishing your credibility. You are the one who wrote the book on it, and people are looking for you as the authority, right? So
Right.
think bigger than just book sales.
Right. And then think about, like, what if that $25,000 client or $2,500 client, what's the lifetime value of that client? How much
True.
more money are they going to spend with you down the road? And what's the referral value of that client? How many clients is that client going to send you? So having that big shift, like people go, oh, well, you know, you place an ad in a magazine back in the day or on TV, and you expected to get clients from it. You invested in that. So I want people to think about a book the same way. My background, for people who don't know me, is I used to own a couple TV stations. So that's what I did, is I sold commercial time on TV stations. And that's what people wanted, was to get clients from that commercial time. Heck, we sold ads for $5,000 up to $100,000 for an ad on TV. So think about that investment, and you hope to get clients back. So think of a book the same way. So now we've dove into the why. Anita, you might have some more input on the why, but I want to start to transition into the actually the meat of the structure.
Let me give a good example of, a lot of people, when you talk about the lifetime value of a client and, sort of longer term goals, you should be looking at the longer term big picture vision. But I'll tell you how quickly, honestly, you can earn a return on your investment in your book project. I launched my memoir in January. 2 weeks after my book launched, I got a phone call. My team and I did some great marketing. We did publicity, we did social media, we did all the things, email, all of that. And I got contacted by someone who wanted to chat with me. I am a publishing strategist, I'm an author coach, I'm an editor, ghostwriter, and this person contacted me for services, wanted to talk to me and see if we were a good fit. So we were chatting. And during that conversation, I asked, well, geez, how did you find out about me? And they said, well, I found you on social media. Great. I saw your posts. I saw you posting about your book. I actually purchased your book. I just finished reading your book. And because I just finished reading your book, I want you to help me write my book. 2 weeks after my book launched. And the value of that client is probably 5x my investment in my book publishing. 2 weeks later. So if you're afraid to think long term or look at the big picture, think about that. It can happen just that quickly, right? So consider your ROI, consider your reason for writing your book, your purpose for writing the book for you. There's also a purpose for your reader, right? What should your ideal reader get from your book? And we talk a lot about that in VIP Day. We don't have time to cover it right now, but that's doubly important when it comes to the content you develop and the way your book is published. But guess what? You can't publish a book that hasn't been written. And you can't start writing if you've got cobwebs in your head, right? We get confused again. Once we finally narrow you down to one book topic of the however many you have, let's figure out what we're writing about and how in the world do you get started. Melanie, how many people do you talk to who are stuck at the start?
Oh my gosh, at least 90% of them when they come to us, unless they've already had a manuscript. And then a lot of times we're recommending, is this really the book that you want? Let's go through this. And is this really your money book? Is this really how you want to, like, we ask those hard questions. I want to say they're hard. They look like they're easy, but then you're like, I don't know. I didn't think of it that way. So
Right.
that usually happens. And the thing that I like that we do best is, when you're vacillating between your life and your business, is we like to say, let's combine those two. Let's talk
Mhm.
about your business expertise and then give your real life stories that express that. So people know who you are and where you came from and part of your journey that you learned to be who you are now and taught you these lessons. So then
Yeah.
they're getting to know you also on a personal level. It's not a memoir, but it's a business book that they feel like, I feel closer to this guy. I'd like to work with this lady. And I understand who they are and where they came from and their philosophy. And now I'm smarter because I read the book too.
Right. It plays on that know, like, and trust factor, right? People
Mhm,
can only learn so much about you on your website. You've got, 10 minutes in a conversation at a networking event,
mhm.
but your book as a leave behind or something that they purchase online or in a bookstore gives them a wealth of information about you when you structure it properly. So let's talk a little bit about structuring your book. Get your
Mhm.
pen and paper out or start typing on that keyboard because this is going to
At
be a
my house.
really simple way to structure your book. It can be expanded, but this is like the core of what you should look for or look at when you are structuring your book. So we've all heard about an outline, right? Don't cringe. This is not middle school. I'm not going to make you do ABC, one, two, three, those kinds of things. But we really want to look at a structure. We call it a framework. We think about it as like you're sort of building a house or building some kind of structure that you need to have some bones for. And then you're going to add the meat and the flesh and all of the good stuff. I keep it simple. And I want you to write down this 1, 3, 3, 1. 1, 3, 3, 1. Okay. The first one is the theme or the topic of the book. There's only one. We're not writing about 12 different things in one book. If you have 12 things, you've got 12 books. We'll deal with those later. One theme. What's the theme? What's the topic? We've talked about some subgenres in the nonfiction space.
Mhm.
Memoir, instructional, how to, inspirational, business subject matter exploration, those kinds of things. That's sort of a subgenre. But within that, what's the theme of your book, right? So you've heard of themes in fiction, guy meets girl, the good guy wins, those kinds of things. There are themes in nonfiction writing as well. It could be, if you're writing an inspirational tale of your life, maybe it is, how you've learned from, the struggles in your life to be resilient, right? Maybe it's the theme of resiliency. Maybe it is the theme of, overcoming hardships. It could be any theme. And don't dig deep. It doesn't have to be hard. There's no new themes. Okay. There are no new themes. You don't have to make up anything special and super sexy. This is inside baseball. This is not something you're going to share with your readers. It's just to keep you focused. There's one theme. Then that first three, is your three main points.
I want to just go into one comment on the theme and think about this theme, because this happens and it's a great way to bring you back in. You're on chapter 4 and all of a sudden you're not on theme anymore. When we're going through VIP day, we're like, does that have anything to do with the theme of the book? Oh, you're right. That is not the theme. Okay, let's pull you back. It's like that airplane that flies is going from California to New York, and the wind pulls it off course a little bit. Unless you adjust, you're going to end up in Miami. All right. So that's what the theme does. So always ask yourself that question as you're creating content. Does this follow the theme of the book?
Right. It helps keep you very, very focused, right? And so that speaks to relevance. And that's the question you need to ask yourself throughout the writing process. Is this relevant? For every sentence, believe it or not, for every paragraph, every chapter, is this relevant? Especially when you're writing memoir, in my opinion, because we're still alive. We want to tell all the things, but we've got to keep it linear, right? What's the focus of my memoir? What's the focus of my subject matter exploration? We always push story, even in nonfiction books. Melanie and I are always talking about the value of story. But if you're telling a story just because it's something that happened to you and it's not actually relevant to the theme of your book, we might have to take it out and put it where I say it's called the parking lot. Just create a document that's called the parking lot. Just put it over there for a minute and just park it there for
I
a
love the
sec.
parking lot. I just love having a parking lot, because then people don't feel like, oh, it's lost, I can't use it. It's like,
Can't find
you know what?
it.
Maybe we'll use it in the spring season. This is fall season right now. We're going to use it maybe in the spring.
Yeah. When you're writing, so here's a quick tip for you. When you're writing your book, always have a parking lot document. And that's what I call mine. It's called the parking lot. So when you pull things out, this really comes in handy during the editing stage. But certainly when you're writing, you pull stuff out, put it over there so you don't feel like you've tossed it away or you've deleted it forever. It's still there. If you feel like you can use it for this book or another one, there it is. So that's that one theme we talked about. One theme, one focus. That first three is three main points. Three main points you want to make. Now, this could expand to 5, 8, 12. 20 is too much, because what we're looking at with our three main points, these are going to become your chapter topics and titles. We're going to start with 3, but we can expand. And for most people, when they begin, they almost always have more than 3. But I say 3 just because when you first start, you're struggling. You're like, okay, what do I want to say? What 3 knowledge points do I want to share in my instructional book, right? Now, if you have a system that you're sharing or a process that's a 6-point system and you take your clients through this in your coaching process, that's easy. You got 6 right there, right? And you can explore each of them. So 3 main points makes it super easy. And these are overarching, very broad topics, right? You can name them, or if you just want to start simple, call them 1, 2, 3, that's fine. But just go with 3 in the beginning. If you already know more, that's perfectly fine. Melanie, we've worked with a lot of authors some who struggled to come up with those first 3 main topics, and others who were like, I got 8 right off the bat.
Right. And I would say the ones that even struggle with the first 3, it's like breaking the dam. And then usually after you get the first 3, the dam's broken and they're like, oh, now I've got 20. We're like, whoa, pull back. So it's just getting those creative juices going. And I think when they struggle, you and I are really famous for asking those good questions to get the dam to pull the information out during the VIP day.
Sure. Sometimes you just need to get started, and sometimes you need a little sidekick. That would be Melanie and me to just nudge you a little bit. What else? Think about it in this way. Questions that other people ask you a lot about whatever, your life, your business, your coaching practice, whatever. It could be things that you teach often, whether it's in your speaking sessions, when you do presentations. So think about those kinds of things that come up frequently. And maybe those could be the start of your main points, your 3 main points or more. So you have one theme, you have 3 main points. Now that second 3, for each of your main points, think about 3 supporting facts, stories, or some data, right? Now, probably if you're writing a memoir, you don't have a lot of data, but you definitely have some stories. So you might have 3 supporting stories for each of your 3 main points. Or again, maybe you have 8 main points, which is 8 chapters. But with each of those main points, you're going to have at least 3 supporting somethings, right? Maybe you have some facts, some stories, some data. Maybe you have some articles and input from other people that would be helpful, right? That support your main points. And with that, you've got like 9 things at this point. 3 main points and 3 supporting facts and stories under each of those main points. Now you should be starting to see some structure. And I want you to type in the chat if you actually really understand this whole concept. Can you see how your book is shaping up from nothing but an idea? So now you have a very cool structure. You already know your why. We talked about that earlier. You know your one single theme or topic for your book. You've got a couple of main points, chapter titles that you're going to write about. And underneath each of those chapters, you already have some stories, some ideas for some content to shape it up a little bit more.
So type yes in the chat if that makes sense to you. Or if you have questions, type that in the chat as well.
So now you see how you can walk through outlining your book, developing a framework, a structure, so that when it's time to go write, you actually know where to plug the content in. So we have a 1, a 3, a 3, and then we have that final 1. And what is that last one? It is the takeaway. The takeaway for the reader. They should have something. Your book should change people in some way. So I want you to think about how you would love for your book to change people. What should your readers think? What should they feel? What should they do when they're finished reading your book? How should your book change them? What's the takeaway? What's the one thing by the time they get to the end of your book, they're like, I got it. Now I know. Whether it's that they should feel a certain way, I feel inspired. If she could overcome that in her life, I can do it too. I'm inspired, right? Should they think differently about a topic that they thought this way about before they read your book, and now they have some insight and they understand more? Maybe they should go out and do something. Perhaps if you're writing a book to establish yourself as an authority, maybe the thing you want them to do is contact you for a session. I want to contact her. She wrote the book on it. She's super smart. I need to work with her. So think about the one takeaway, and it should not be hidden in your book. It also shouldn't be contact me, contact me, contact me. It should be a little subtle, but it should be obvious to your readers the thing that they should do. What's their takeaway?
And the other thing we talk about, you're talking about the, contact me, contact me. I'm going to tell people that when we walk through, we want you to start thinking about, this is kind of more advanced. What is your call to action? What do you want them to do afterwards? How do you want them to engage? Are you going to have a freebie in the beginning of the book that you can grow your list because Amazon doesn't tell you? How do you want people to work with you and show up? Another thing that we do during VIP Day 2, and I want you to think about this now, is kind of the big picture of what that book means and what other things you can turn it into. So we've worked with authors from the beginning, and they're like, we've seeded this like, gosh, this could be turned into a workbook. Like if your goal is to do consultations for corporations and things like that. So let's think about having content, like she said, what are they going to get about this? What is the takeaways? Those takeaways and action items that the reader should do to move themselves forward could be turned into a workbook as well. So also coming up, I know Anita's like, you're going way too big, Melanie. Like that's way.
No, I love it. It's all good.
Good. But it's thinking about those things too. That's what my mind goes when I work with on VIP Day. I'm throwing out some of the bigger picture things for marketing and your business as well when you're creating the book.
Right, because book publishing really is a marketing strategy. We talked about that earlier. This is an investment in your brand, an investment in your business. It's to help you get the visibility and the credibility and the authority establishment of your knowledge so people can know you and know who to turn to because you wrote the book on it, right? So all of this structure that we talked about, the 1-3-3-1, gets you started. right?
Mm.
It gets you started writing content that is relevant, content that is engaging, right? Content that will help you satisfy your why, your purpose for writing the book, but also the why for the reader. What do they need? What are
Yeah.
they needing when they come to this book, when they pick up your book off the shelf, or when they click on your book online and say, wow, that book description is great. I really think I need this. Like, where are they in their moment of need? They need some information, they need some inspiration, and oftentimes they would like to be entertained a little bit. So, understanding those things at the very start of your book project
Mhm.
helps you move forward so that you create a great manuscript that can be published, high quality, super expertise, so that you enjoy the author journey more than you would ever thought you would.
Mhm.
And hopefully, you can end up, and when you work with us, you do, a book product that you are proud to put your name on and proud to share with other people.
And one thing I want to bring up too is vulnerability is such a big thing, of being able to tell really your truth and that inside story of you. And so many times I get this too. Well, I don't want to tell everybody everything I know because then they'll copy me. I'm worried about my competition stealing my stuff. What do you say to that, Anita?
Well, I say that if you're coming to the book writing table afraid that people are going to steal your stuff, then maybe you need to rethink your why. We like to work with people who are not afraid. We want to share content to help other people and to exhibit our expertise. How will they know that if you're holding back? My advice to people is really to give it all. Give
Yeah.
it all to people. Put it in your book. Establish yourself as the authority. Show that you are knowledgeable. Because honestly, if the people who are reading your book were going to do the thing that you're teaching, they probably would have already done it. They would have already done it. So don't be afraid that, oh, my prospective clients are going to read my book and then they're going to just follow my 6-step process and they won't ever call me. Well, that's not true. They want to work with somebody who has done it, who established and created this 6-step process, for example, and they want you to help them walk through the process. They don't want to do it themselves. They just want to know what to do. They want to know what's included and how to do it. And they want to work with the expert. That's you. As far
The
as competition, as far as the competition, don't worry about the competition, right? There's more than enough business to go around.
Mhm.
And, no one's going to ever do your thing better than you do your thing, right? So someone could copy you. There have been copycats for everything throughout
Mhm.
history. No one does your thing better than you do your thing. So don't let the threat or the fear of competition stop you from putting your genius and your knowledge in the form of a book.
It's your secret sauce. And I use this story of, here in Houston, Texas, there's Baptist churches on every corner practically. There's a lot of churches. I just saw someone from Tennessee saying, you won't have a problem finding a church because there's a lot of churches here in Nashville. But what happens is they're all teaching from the same book. Right. So, but you go to a different church that you relate to that minister, to the way he's interpreting it in his message, and you have
Yeah.
that connection. And that's the same thing that's true from your book. So that's why we want you to be vulnerable. So your voice really shines through. You have a different spin on telling your knowledge, whether it's on leadership or health or fitness or insurance or financial advice. You have your inside view of this and the way to relate to somebody, and it's going to be different than everybody else's. So don't feel like, oh, first of all, that I shouldn't tell it because there's so many books on that topic out there. None is going to have the same content that you do. It's just going to be
Yeah.
different. And the other way is no one can ever copy exactly what you do. They want to work with you because you have that certain extra secret sauce and done what you've done for however many years you've done it. Even if it's 1 year, you bring something different to the table.
Mhm. Absolutely. So no fear. Go into it with a dedicated mind and heart that you are going to finish what you start. I think a lot of people are trying to find the right moment. When's the right time for me to write my book, right? When do I decide that I'm ready? And Melanie and I had this conversation recently. Like, there's no one time where you feel like, I'm so ready to write my book, I'm going to do it tomorrow, right? It's almost like deciding you're ready to have a baby, or you're ready to buy a new house, or you're ready to get married. I mean, you feel ready, but then you're a little bit nervous and it's like maybe it's not the right time. I've talked to a lot of authors who say, "Oh, finally, Anita, I've been thinking about writing my book for 5 years and now I think I'm ready."
Mhm.
Or I've been trying to write a book for 5 years and now I think I'm ready. And I say, guess what? It doesn't take 5 years to write a book. So you really have just been thinking about it, talking yourself out of it. I think there are a couple of factors that are really critical to help you decide to write the book. And one is desire. Do
Mm.
you truly desire? Like tap into that desire that you have, that strong push to leave a legacy, as we talked about, to fulfill that why, right? That need to share your knowledge and inspire other people. You have a desire to do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this
Mm.
masterclass. So you have a desire, let that push you forward. One of the things that stops people is confidence, a lack of confidence. I'm not quite sure either that I'm a good enough writer or maybe I don't know enough, right? I'm just kind of nervous about, is my book going to be good? Well, get yourself a boost of confidence. Nothing helps your confidence level better than information. So you're here in this masterclass to get some information. Certainly contact our team to get more information, find out if we're a good fit for each other and how we can support you. But let that confidence, that lack of confidence go by the wayside and say, yes, I'm capable. I'm ready to do this. Also, think about the missed opportunities, either that you've already missed or opportunities you will miss in the future by not having a book. We mentioned that one client who could be getting paid more for her speaking gigs, could be getting more paid speaking opportunities. But you're missing some opportunities, quite frankly, in business by not having a book. Okay.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Sorry, I was upside down here. I just realized I didn't put my charger in for my computer and I was on red. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on red. We're going to lose me any minute now.
You could have missed an opportunity, Melanie.
Exactly, because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have that sitting out there. So,
Yeah.
and everything Anita is saying is true. I don't know. Did we have any questions in the chat? Karen, let me know if there are any questions. I didn't have my glasses here with me to see what I'm looking at. So if you could chime in on
No,
that we
no
had.
questions on the chat. I just put in the framework, the 1331, and just a brief overview, but nothing yet.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
awesome.
Perfect.
I'm going to share my screen just real briefly so you can see an overview of, and hopefully I'm sharing this correctly because we talked about this earlier. There we go. Hey,
Got it.
so I think I just have to say okay here. And then, so we do VIP book creation day, just a snapshot of what we do. And then book advisory, author coaching, that's married with the VIP day. So is ghostwriting. So once you have a VIP day, which is really going deep into what we did today. And the result is that you get almost a third of your book written, up to a third of your book written. Could be anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 words in a full structure that day. And then you can work on with Anita doing book advisory and coaching or have full ghostwriting if you'd like that. So that's just an idea of what that looks like for our clients if you're interested in doing that. And then we also have our publishing packages. Let me share my screen on that in just 1 second. As they tell me, make sure it's big, Melanie. Make sure you cover up all those tabs and everything that you have open, because that's what happens when you're this entrepreneur person. You're just always got all kinds of tabs going here. And now I've lost everybody. All right, Anita, give me
We're still here, and we know you
We're
have a
still-
million tabs open at any given time, Melanie. So
yeah,
so in the
now,
meantime, while Melanie is getting the publishing packages up, we do have a question. The question is, what happens if we work with you on a VIP day?
VIP day is your entry point. Oh my gosh. So VIP day is a full day with Melanie and myself and you, where we hash out the foundation for your book, the structure. We handle that 1331 and expand it to even more. We talk about your ideal reader, because it's extremely important for us to know and for you to know who you're writing for. And there is a profile that we do where we really dig into who you are writing for, what their needs are, information they need, how you can serve them best. Remember, your book is a tool to serve other people. We talk about the structure of your book. We dig into story development so that in those second three, like we talked about those supporting stories and facts and data, we create some stories. We talk through, you're creating as we talk through VIP Day. So it's a virtual session typically, and we are on Zoom like this, and we're actually recording it, and it is being transcribed so that when VIP Day is over, you actually get the audio recording and the transcription so that you have content already created right there. So we talk about story, and then we also talk about the strategy of book publishing. So marketing, we talk about how you're getting the word out, promotion, and so forth, and how you can use this book as leverage in your business and in your brand. So it's a full day, about 6 or 7 hours with Melanie and I virtually. We take some breaks, but it is a quite intensive roll up your sleeves, get some work done day. We're not doing PowerPoint. It's none of that. We are working all day long. And by the time you finish, you have a solid structure for your book. We follow up with a more detailed framework for you, which serves as the starting point for your working manuscript. So as Melanie mentioned, you already have 5,000 to 10,000 words already complete. What you're doing is fleshing it out. You also get a book production calendar, so you know what steps need to happen in the production process throughout, how long each one takes, what order they go in, and even when you can expect to have your book launch. So that's VIP Day. That's the start of everything. And from there, when you're done, you get that framework and everything, you go off and write, and then we handle the rest for you.
And I want to give you a visual of how beautiful the deliverables are. Because I think, we talk about all the, description, but what you get when you're done is this beautiful document, multiple page document that tells you everything about your avatar, your ideal reader, where they went to school, maybe even how old they are, the kids, really who that person is. So that's the first thing you show up. Then the theme of your book, what the theme of your book actually is, the purpose of your book. And again, we talk about the reason I'm there as well, because Anita is the real resident writer in this, but I'm there about the big business picture and how you're going to use this. So let's have this whole idea being seated as well. But then you get your book. I want to say it's structured it's like you have this mini book with the chapters, with the content in the chapters that were created that day. You're not writing anything that day at all. You may give us some things you've written in the past or any content you have, but you're getting all the content in the chapters with notations that says, need another story here. We need some data here, with little notations. And then you're like, oh, it's that big piece of that puzzle that I'm making. I just pull, from my story bucket, I pull a story and put in here. Oh, I need some facts and some research here. Oh, for my research bucket, I'm going to pull that and put that in here. So it makes it so much easier for you to finish up, and you're not in your head anymore. The document is beautiful. It has so much content. It's so clear and easy. And what I love about this process is it compresses time. So you've been thinking about your book for years. Imagine just spending a day and having up to 10,000 words written and everything written down all in one document. To me, it's for that busy entrepreneur that's wanted to do this book for I don't know how long, and now it can become a reality. And you have this team behind you and this coach that really is going to make it happen. So that's kind of the beauty of what we do.
I see this question about whether it's virtual or do I have to fly somewhere? You can fly somewhere if you want to, but you don't have to. Yeah, we do most of our VIP book creation days virtually, just like this, with fewer people, just the three of us. And so it is a virtual experience. So you can do it from the comfort of your office or home.
Yeah, we have one coming up a week from Friday that we're doing, and he'll be in person with me here in Houston, and just Anita will be virtual. And we had another one where a gentleman flew in from Utah into Houston, and Anita was virtual still. And then we've had it where Anita's been in person.
I came in, I was live with that one.
Oh, that's right. You were live with that one. We were all in one place. So sometimes we are all together and sometimes it's virtual. It's whatever is easier and accommodating for the particular author to do.
We have another question from Denise. Her question is, I've started writing a middle grade novel. I'm on chapter 4, so I have a sketchy outline, sketchy is in quotes, based on the school calendar. I know what I want to do. I know how I want it started, how I wanted it ended. I'm in the messy middle right now of getting my middle from point A to B. Would this work for me?
Oh, do you want me to take that,
Yeah, I'm
Denise?
having you
Thank you
take
for
that.
that.
That's the writing and
I
it's a
love the
novel.
sketchy stuff and the messy middle stuff. I think that's wonderful. Well, congratulations first for getting to chapter 4. And I think that is wonderful. We mostly do VIP Day for nonfiction authors. Although there is some support we can provide for you, so be sure to get in touch with us after this. But certainly, mostly VIP Day is for nonfiction, business-focused memoir, instructional books, and so forth. Novels are a wonderful, wonderful, totally different animal that we absolutely love. And we can certainly support you with that. But we don't typically do VIP days for fiction books, but we can certainly give you some support. So be sure to get in touch with us.
But I'm ready to share my screen one more time on the publishing part. So let me do that real quick. So we have packages anywhere from our legacy package of 150,000 down to our bronze package for 16,000. So it just depends what you're looking for. The legacy packages and thought leader packages include full ghostwriting and things like that. And I think we even have a lot of other bells and whistles in there with marketing and content marketing. So, but anywhere from opening the door to 16,000 for just the publishing, not including VIP Day. So just to give you an idea of kind of an overview of our publishing packages. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen if I can find my cursor. There it is. There we go.
Any questions there? Okay.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. And again, Karen, if you would put the links to book an appointment to either, if you'd like a consultation call to see if you're a good fit for us or have some other questions you'd like to just answer in person, or you can go to our website to the author submission form, eliteonlinepublishing.com. And I think the button is up in the right-hand corner there. And we would, love that you give us some comments that what you learned from this. Please reach out to us. You can find us on YouTube. We have a lot of videos there. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We're everywhere because that's what we tell our authors. You have to be everywhere. So we're everywhere. And we do these master classes usually about once a month. So, hey, keep in touch with us. And we'd love to see if you're a candidate to work with us. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great week and keep writing.